Welcome back everyone. So in this video we're going to work on the scope a little bit. Now I messed with a few different designs and I found a really cool one that I think would give that nice sci-fi futuristic look to it. So first things first, I'm going to select the scope here and we're going to tab into edge mode. And I'm just going to select these bottom two edges here, Control B to bevel them, and I don't want to do a chamfer, I actually want to have a nice rounded surface, so maybe like, I don't know, 10 segments. I'm not too sure how high I want to go up on there, but yeah, something like that should be good. Now I don't like the ridges here, so let's smooth it out. Right click, shade smooth, and then turn on our auto smooth. So now we have a pretty cool design there. So next I want to add a few different cutter designs in here to make this thing look even more sci-fi. So I'll just press Shift A, mesh, and then single vert, as we've always done. I still like repeating myself though, just to make sure everyone's following along. And I'm just going to extrude this guy across on the X, just kind of arbitrarily. Extrude up at an angle here, extrude over again, and then we'll just extrude down at an angle and just close this off here. We'll just select everything with the A key and press F. Next we're just going to extrude this guy all the way through, and then of course tab into object mode, and we're going to do another slice operation here. So Control / to get that in, and maybe on these really sharp ridges here we can add a little bit of a bevel to make it more rounded. So I'm going to tab into edge mode, and I'm just going to grab all three of these edges here and Control B to bevel. Now we don't need a crazy amount of bevel. This should be just enough, I think. Yeah, this should be perfect. So now we have this cool looking design here, which we'll leave for now. I'm just going to go ahead and move this cutter to the cutters collection. And let me think. I'm going to take this main part of the scope and tab into face mode. And I'm just going to pull it up a bit more so we have a little bit more room for the scope. Right now it's a little bit too tiny in my opinion. I think that looks a little bit better, some more breathing room. So now we'll just take another single vert and do another slice, make this thing look even cooler. Let's pull it up here and then extrude across on the X, and let me think, maybe extrude down at this angle. We can pull it over some more if we want. And now we just need to close off this cutter by extruding over here, extruding up, and then across. And then we can just fill this whole thing in. So now this area is going to be the area that's going to be sliced out. So we'll just extrude straight through, like that. Tab into object mode, shift select the weapon, and then Control / for a slice. Now I do want to bevel this ridge right here to make it kind of match the curviness of this one. So just tab into edge mode and Control B to add a nice bevel there. You can make it as long as you want, but I think that looks pretty decent. So now let's move this guy to the cutters collection. And I think I have one more idea. We could do something similar for the top. We'll just take a single vert, position it right up here. I'm going to pull this one really close to the edge and just extrude across. And just keep it really close just because I think it would look cool. So maybe like around here. And then we'll extrude up on the Z-axis a little bit. And then now all we need to do is select everything and extrude all the way through. And then slice this guy out as well. Now final thing, I'm going to tab into edge mode for this one. We'll do a little bit of a bevel right here. And to match it, we're going to select this top piece and just do the same thing. We haven't applied the boolean yet, but we don't really have to in this case. Bevel that one so it kind of matches. Then we'll just move this guy over to the cutters collection. So there we go. Looks pretty decent. Now final idea just for the base of the scope here is to put in like two little, I don't know what I'd call it, like two wedges here in the side just to kind of give that metallic type of feel, you know, like it's a pretty hard surface, hence hard surface modeling. We'll go to mesh and then add in a plane for this one. Rotate this guy 90 over the X, and then all we got to do is pull it up and just scale it down and right around here should be okay. So I'm just going to scale on the X a bit. Maybe Z. This is just me playing around with the values. Then I'm just going to tab into vert mode, select these two, scale on the X a bit. Maybe we could even grab these edges and scale them up a bit more. And then the last thing, we'll go ahead and take these vertices. Well, first, let's make sure the scale is uniform before we bevel the vertices. So we'll press Ctrl A, apply scale, and then we can go back into vert mode and bevel these guys. So to bevel vertices, it's Ctrl Shift B, but if you forget that command, you can just press Ctrl B and then press the V key for vertex. So really whichever way you want to do it. So maybe like, we really don't need that many segments. We'll do like 8. That should be alright. Cool, and then I'm just going to pull this guy a little bit closer. Pretty close to the edge. And we'll just extrude everything in. Kind of like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're just going to duplicate this to the other side. And basically use these two things as some little notches up here on the top. So we're going to have to union these together. First things first, I'm just going to join them with Ctrl J, so I don't have to do it twice. Right click and then shade smooth, and then turn on auto smooth, like that. And then at this point, to union these together, we can just select these, shift select this piece, and then to perform a union operation, we press Ctrl and then the plus symbol on the keyboard, or the number pad, not the keyboard, but on the number pad. And you can remember that easily by plus means adding, and that's literally what we're doing here with the union. We're adding this to the geometry. It's one uniform mesh now. So now we can just move this to the cutters collection, and there we go. And you can even see that this thing is indeed union to this by going into wireframe view. You can see this is part of the geo now, which is exactly what we wanted. And overall, this thing has kind of a nice sci-fi feel to it now. It has that nice curvy surface and just kind of arbitrary cutter positioning. I think it looks really, really neat. I'm happy with it. And also, I want to take these cutters and mirror them to the other side. We haven't actually done that yet. So I'm just going to go to the cutters collection, and these are the cutters here. What we can do is simply Shift D to duplicate, move over on the Y, rotate this around the Z 180. Let's right click and change the origin to the geometry so that way it doesn't pivot around that point. So RZ 180, then we'll just do the same thing, pull this back in, shift click, Control plus, and there we go. Let's just make sure this is not too far in. That should be okay. And then we can just go ahead and hide the cutters collection. And there we go, we have one on both sides now. And one final thing I'd like to do is add a little bit of a bevel here where this slice is. So to do that, we need to apply our booleans, and if you can't, as always, you just add the new object data user, then you should be able to apply. So I'm going to apply both of those, so now I have access to the geometry in here. And I'm just going to select maybe this edge and control click up to maybe this one. I'm going to press Control B. Now it's beveling the wrong way, which tells me the normals are incorrectly oriented. So I'm going to select everything with the A key, Shift N, and something like this should be decent. Really depends how much of a bevel you want in there. Like, I don't know if I want to go that high. I just want a very slight hint of a bevel. Kind of like that. I just think it adds a nice little bit of aesthetic there. Let's see. Yeah, something like that should be okay. Now let's do the same thing to the other side. I'll just kind of guess. I think those are the right ones. Control B. And there we go. Now we have a nice little bit of bevel in there. Cool, so this piece is looking really, really good. I'm happy with it. And in the next video, we're going to work on it some more, maybe add some bevels and things like that. So I'll see you in the next video.